Okay. at 6 o'clock on this Tuesday, I know, strange, November 14th, 2023. If we could call the meeting to order with a roll call, please.
Yes. Michael Thomas,
Present.
Lauren Dowden,
Present.
David Shepherd,
Present.
Rachel Merrickwin,
Absent with notice.
Denise Jones, yes. Michael L. Miller,
Absent also with notice.
Colleen Clemzak,
Present.
all are here.
Very good, thank you. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if my board members can look at the agenda in front of us, and if we approve, if I could have a first motion, please.
Motion to approve the agenda?
And a second,
I'll second it.
and a roll call, please.
Michael Thomas,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
I'm sorry,
That's
David
okay.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
motion passed.
Awesome. Okay, and I will hand the baton over to Dr. Woodland.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So our first report from this evening is from our D124 Foundation. We have an exciting event coming up, right?
You. It's very good.
Got our festive fire up there. Good evening, everyone.
Nice.
So a few updates and then we'll talk about our Grinchmas breakfast. The Kindness Day shirt sales ended at 354 shirts and we will finalize our donation next month. We're super excited about that. And a special shout out to Tomber Promotions and their owner Angie, who does a fantastic job of getting these shirts designed and out at an awesome price that allows us to raise a lot of money for great causes. Our coat drive has wrapped up. We were really awesome, 29 coats donated, 3 pairs of boots, baskets of hats and gloves and scarves.
Nice. And these
all
were
of
all
those-
new, correct?
All brand new coats, brand new hats, gloves and scarves. Those will, anything extra from the coat drive that we don't need within our district needs will get donated to CMS's student leadership when they go down in January and do their donations downtown, so that'll be great. The monthly food drives are going awesome. This month, Northeast is up. Last month, Southeast donated a total of 1,100 items to the local food pantries. That's fantastic. And we're planning a pizza party with Miss Banks' 5th grade classroom, who
Awesome.
won their building over. And then our Grinchmas breakfast is coming up very, very quickly, December 9th. We have so many fun things planned. Games and crafts for the kids, raffles, sponsors, and of course, the Grinch and pancakes. So we would love reservations to be in on Friday, so we have a head count if anyone hasn't already gotten that to us. We're planning for fun, so.
It'd be awesome. It always is.
Yes. Any questions?
No questions. We are all looking forward to the Grinch event
It's gonna be great.
and I'm so excited to always be Cindy Lou Who.
Or Cindy Lou
So
is
fun.
ready.
Our very own Cindy Lou Who. You always, it's so awesome.
But I know behind the scenes, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So we
Oh,
just appreciate your support and we look
It's a-
forward to hosting the event on that day.
Team effort.
So, and the items that we accumulated from the back to school bash.
All of our back to school bash raffle items, donations from the board, from our school boosters, local high schools, will all be at the Grinch Mix breakfast, and available to be raffled off and still raise a little money.
Awesome.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. The Grinch and pancakes. What more could we need, right? I love it.
Right. So next on our agenda is Board of Education recognition for our school board members. So tomorrow happens to be our National School Board Day. And my theme for this year is we need to plant a seed and make it grow.
These are so cute.
So I think behind the scenes, no one recognizes how much a Board of Education does in order to plant a seed and make it grow. And that really happens every single day with our students, with their dedication to tough decisions. But at the end of the day, they make decisions that are best for students and best for kids and ultimately best for Evergreen Park School District 124. So I have asked for a couple of students, one per building, to come and share how their love and experience has really impacted their education. And so I'm gonna go by building, so if Miss Vermeer could welcome up her special guest and introduce him to the crowd first.
Yes, I'd like to welcome Christian Bracken, my student council president.
Okay, Christian, come on up. We cannot wait to hear from you. Hi, Christian, how are you today?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank the members of the board for giving me an opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Christian Bracken, and I'm the student council president of Southeast School. Southeast will always have a special place in my heart. If it wasn't for my teachers, Mrs. Sullivan, Mrs. Collins, Mrs. Bledsoe, Mrs. Lerquin, Miss Guzman, and now Miss Banks, under the leadership of Mrs. Vermeer, I would never be the student I am today. I can't forget to mention Mr. Karras, who doesn't have any hard feelings towards me when I hit him in the face with a pie.
Christian is great.
When I had my hardest educational moment, it was Miss Lerquin who motivated me to be a better reader. The instruction and encouragement of all my teachers has created my love of learning and attending Southeast School. Deep-seated in my love of Southeast School is my pride and sense of community that Southeast School has. During my time at Southeast School, we experienced something never before seen, COVID. As teachers, students, and parents came together through all the ups and downs COVID threw at us, I could never be more proud. It is the students, the teachers, the experiences, and the memories that have given me the love and pride of Southeast School. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention.
Well done.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Christian. So next up, I'm going to ask Mr. Liska to introduce his special guest.
So we have Maribel Harkins, one of our fantastic fifth grade students, and she is a great representative of all that Southwest has to offer.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Hi, I'm Maribel Harkins. I have been at Southwest since kindergarten, and I have loved all 6 years of it. I love the kind students and staff. I love how there is no tolerance to bullying and mean behavior. I love how understanding each and every teacher is. Whether you are struggling or you just fall behind, they are so helpful, and I'm so grateful for that. Through the years, they make sure each and every kid feels special and understood. I am grateful to every teacher who has helped me through the years to get to where I am today. I know that's just 5th grade, but just the fact that they were willing to help me makes me all the more grateful. I had so many amazing teachers. My first teacher was Miss Keating, and now my last teachers are going to be Miss Grebner, Mrs. O'Shea, and Mrs. Sobzak. And I could not be happier with my teachers over the years. My favorite memory from Southwest is when we went to MSI. Why, you may ask? Because I liked having the freedom to roam around and see a bunch of different things instead of just going on one big class trip. I also love the talent show. I have been in it 3 times now. I always have so much fun participating in it and being able to see all the other acts. I think the idea of after-school clubs is amazing. I loved being in drama. It was a lot of fun to get to know the people that had the same interests as me. My favorite class would probably be math. Miss Sobzak makes everything more fun for everyone in her class. I am a math girl at heart, so that might be part of it. But I do love learning about other stuff like the Mayans, Aztecs, and Inca. Overall, I have loved my time at Southwest and I wish I could stay forever. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Liska for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, next up, Mrs. Berry, would you like to introduce your special guest?
Sure, I would like to introduce Sophia Kent. She's a fourth grade student. Little background, we had a person today, but that person was sick, so Sophia has stood up.
Wow. We're so excited to have you, Sophia.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sophia Kent and I'm a fourth grader at Northeast Elementary School. I have been a student at Northeast since kindergarten. I am happy to have the opportunity to tell you what I am most proud of at Northeast School. What I love most about Northeast School is that the teachers give their full effort to make our learning experience fun for all the students at our school. I also love that our students appreciate us and encourage us as students. The teachers believe in us when we think our work is too hard. Our teachers make sure that we never give up. One example was during a reading assignment when I could not pronounce a word, and Miss Coleman was patient with me and helped me pronounce the word correctly. I see Miss Coleman and other teachers give the same patience with other students all of the time. Our Northeast teachers give their full attention when it comes to a student having trouble and needing help. When we need help with something that we don't know how to do, there was always a teacher there to offer guidance. Although our teachers want to make our learning experience fun and exciting, they also want us to become smart and educated. Northeast gives all students a place to be themselves, and this gives us a safe place to learn, have fun, and make a lot of friends. I look forward to coming to school every day. It gives me a good feeling, like I'm going to have an amazing day. We also have so many other people at our school who are kind, caring, empathetic, and generous, like our principal, Miss Berry, our assistant principal, Miss Franco, our nurse, who is very sweet, and our school secretary, Miss Briggs, and everyone else who helps make Northeast a great place. I also love that the students at Northeast treat the teachers along with the school itself with a lot of respect. Thank you for listening. I had such a fun time writing this. Have a wonderful rest of your
Excellent. Okay, next up, Dr. Vanek.
I'm excited to introduce Jacob Brazel. He's an amazing fifth grader at Northwest and also our student council president.
All right, Jay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacob Brazel, and I'm student council president for Northwest Elementary School. Thank you for the opportunity to express what I like about Northwest and District 124. I have been a student at Northwest for 5+ years now, and in that time I had some wonderful experiences. Just about every day, I start my day off with the extended day program in the morning. This is always something to look forward to because the ladies that work the program are always so kind to me. I also like playing with the other kids there in the morning. From kindergarten to now, I had amazing teachers in every grade, and they have influenced me in positive ways. They have even taken me out of my comfort zone to where I've tried new things that I probably wouldn't have, such as football, baseball, acting, and playing an instrument. The amazing staff of Northwest has also been there whenever I needed them. Whether it was a trip to the nurse's office for a Band-Aid or an ice pack, or to the library for a book, they've always been so kind. Another thing I like about Northwest is the sense of family that I feel whenever there has been an event or activity at the school, such as Wingo, St. Baldrick's, or the Sidewalk Art Fair.
To see all the parents, volunteers to make these activities possible, and the Parent Booster Club that puts on so many more activities shows me how much the families of our school really love us. Being part of this awesome district has provided me with the opportunity to participate in many after-school clubs. I have learned to play chess, I've learned basic electrical circuits, and I've even experienced acting in a musical. I really loved my time at Northwest, the friends I have made, and the people I have met. Looking forward to the next chapter of my education and all the new experiences that middle school will bring. Thank you for your time and have a good night.
Excellent public school.
And last but not least, Dr. Zampillo, if you'd like to introduce your special guest.
It is my pleasure to introduce the leader at Central Middle School, 8th grader Kevin Reyes, who is an officer in National Junior Honor Society, and he's also a member of Central Middle School's band program.
Hello everybody, my name is Kevin Reyes and I'm an 8th grader at Central Middle School. I'm here to express my deep gratitude for Central Middle School and its district board. I am thankful for my teachers who have shaped my academic journey. Their teaching has fueled my learning and inspired me to push boundaries and discover my full academic potential. Through their guidance, I learned a lot of things like critical thinking skills and knowledge that will serve me well throughout my life. Furthermore, I am grateful for the diverse and inclusive environment that my school and its district foster. In a world that often struggles with acceptance and understanding, my school has provided a safe place where students from all areas of life can come together and celebrate our differences. This inclusive atmosphere has not only broadened my perspective, but also equipped me with the empathy and compassion necessary to navigate an increasingly interconnected world. The students at my middle school are truly remarkable. They possess a great eagerness to learn and engage with their education, displaying curiosity that fuels their academic growth. Additionally, their compassion and empathy towards one another create a supportive and inclusive environment where everyone feels valued. Their diverse talents and interests contribute to a vibrant and dynamic school community, raising creativity and collaboration. With their dedication, resilience, and positive attitude, these students exemplify the very best of middle school. I am thankful for the things our foundation does, such as hosting events like the Back to School Bash, the upcoming Breakfast with Grinch events, and other fun occasions. I'm also grateful for the community our school has. Our students, parents, educators, and administrators have created a nurturing and supportive ecosystem where I feel valued and encouraged to thrive. The bonds forged within this community have taught me the importance of collaboration and unity. In conclusion, my school and its district have provided me with an invaluable education and life experiences for which I am sincerely grateful. From the dedicated educators, inclusive environment, and the pursuit of excellence to the abundant and strong sense of community, they have shaped me into the person I am today. I'll carry these lessons learned and the memories made with me throughout my life. I am truly fortunate to be part of this extraordinary community. Thank you.
So I could have written this speech, but I thought our students conveyed it much better than me. And so I am just so proud of each and every one of you and my principals for helping me in finding the right fit, for sharing their positive and just uplifting experience that they have. And so that is our gift to you, and we just want to continue to say thank you for everything you do. Your efforts are just, no one knows the behind the scenes of a Board of Education. They just don't, and it's thankless, and it's a lot of time, and it's an extreme commitment, and you do it all for free, which a lot of people don't know as well. And so again, I just want to say thank you. And so we do have some lovely plaques to hand out to each of you. So I'd like to invite our 5 guests up. If you would help me hand this out.
Nice.
I am fortunate, I have 5 board members here tonight. One for each of you. So Maribel, if you would give Miss Colleen Klimczak hers.
Thank you so much.
This one. If you Jacob could give this to Miss Denise, that would be greatly appreciated. And you're gonna all stay up here because you're gonna take a picture with us too.
We're big on the photos, so you gotta stick around.
I'm gonna give yours to Mr. David Shepherd. You're gonna give yours
Thank you there, sir.
And you're gonna give yours to Dr. Michael Thomas. And then we're gonna take a picture together, is that okay, guys? And then you get cupcakes or some treats? Some treats?
It's our new photo.
Yes.
Look at our
Love that
snazzy new photo. Look at that. Hey. The next time I need to go public speaking, I'm gonna.
Fabulous
You all
job,
were
thank you so
amazing.
much.
And I know how hard it is to stand up in front of a room full
Fabulous,
of people.
Jacob.
So well
Excellent job.
done,
Sophia,
very
excellent
good job, thank you so much.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So you all wanna get right
People
in front of the
taller than the board members, and that's okay.
Yes. That would be great. You're doing good, Christian, right
Nope,
there.
doing great.
Yes, perfect.
Lots of proud parents too. Good job, moms and dads and principals for getting it all together. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming today.
Way to start.
Wow, can we do that every meeting? I love it. This is amazing.
Happiness here.
Oh, I love it. Nice. Yes, right? Thank you so much. Cupcakes, gotta get the cupcakes.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, that's awesome.
My daughter goes out Sunday with she talks about them all.
Oh, really?
That's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Very well known.
He was at our neighbor's house, playing with their little son, and she's like, Mom, it's really complicated, but right now Jacob is next to us.
Oh, and how old is she?
He's 5.
She's 5. Oh
Yeah,
my
he's
god.
hilarious.
I'm like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's really complicated right now.
Rise up.
She talks about it a lot.
That's hilarious.
All right.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay, so next up on our agenda is Mr. Jim Hennessy will be reporting out on our health life safety inspection.
It's good to see you.
I didn't want to follow that up.
I know. They did a great job. That was really fun.
So we had our annual health, life, safety inspection on October 26th. And last year we had some hiccups. And I was a little nervous this year, especially because I wasn't here. But we've knocked it out of the park this year.
Awesome. That's great news.
They were very happy with how the schools look. We had a couple minor housekeeping issues that were taken care of that day.
Awesome.
And they were very happy with the corrections we made from last year. They said the schools looked wonderful, clean, everyone was very helpful. I just want to thank the entire staff for reading and following all the emails I was sending out, just to make sure that we had a good inspection this year. So they were very happy, and like I said, any of the few things that they found were corrected that day. So
Awesome.
they did a great job this year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, anything else? Any questions for Jim? Great, thanks,
I
Jim.
like good
Good job,
reports
Jim.
too. Like that's a great follow-up
Yeah.
to that one.
No, I was very happy when I came back and this was sitting on my desk.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Right, yeah, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, you get a cupcake too, Jim. All right.
Our businessman, Mr. Rumsey.
Hey.
Last month, the expenditures went up roughly $2.5 million. The four main payments in October were salaries, benefits, out-of-district tuition, and transportation. Revenue-wise, we still have not received too much money from the state. We received roughly $800,000 during the month of October. and the main revenues were transportation reimbursements and evidence-based funding. And we're hoping December's kind of the month, but January would hopefully be the latest. We'll start seeing big chunks of.
Gotcha.
As a result, the fund balance went down roughly $1.5 million in October. I would not say there should be any concern for this as a result of the delay in payments from the state.
It's coming.
Presentation of the tentative tax levy will occur today. Today, I will be presenting the tentative tax levy to you guys. Next month, the 19th in December, will be the adoption of the 2023 tax levy, and then I need to, by December 26th, file the documents with Cook County. Some factors to consider in making levy decisions: the impact of the decision on the long-term financial condition of the district. How did the decision impact projected fund balance reserves? The impact of the decision on long-term quality of educational services in the district. Will the district be able to maintain fund balance reserve targets without adversely impacting staffing and programming? And the impact of the decision on the condition of the district's facilities. Will the district be able to address capital needs and wants while both maintaining fund balance reserve targets and desired educational services? This chart is a history of the CPI. It's to show that this year and last year are the 2 years that since 1993, that we've seen anything 5% or over. The goal of the state, I'm hearing, is to try to get it between 3 and 4 for the next year, and then roughly in the mid-2s, and then hopefully they can start going back to what the normal levels were of CPI in the future.
So just to clarify, right now, because of inflation, CPI is higher, which
Correct.
also impacts the assessed value of a home, correct?
Yes.
But the assessed value of a home is not a determination of a school district.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Breakdown of revenues, this slide, I wanted to show how important the levy is to the school district. In the south suburbs specifically, real estate taxes make up a very big portion of the revenues for the budget every year. Real estate taxes take about 72% of our budget, followed by evidence-based funding at 15, federal at 5, state at 3, and then other local is also at 5%. The recommended tax levy for levy year 2023 is really not too different from last year. I switched around the IMRF and Social Security just because of the way that some of the stuff was looking in the system. It's the same fund, so outside of that, the total levy this year requested would be $25,002,000. The levy request would impact the $300,000 market value home by $17.75 a month, and a $200,000 market value home by $11.08 a month.
A month.
A month,
Okay.
yes, that's the monthly cost.
Those numbers one more time, Eric, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Those numbers one more time.
Yeah, so for a $300,000 market value home, it's $17.75 a month.
Okay.
And then for a $200,000 market value home, it's $11.08 a month.
All right, thank you.
Yep. In this slide, this is state laws of last year. You just have to show the fund balances as of June 30th of the prior year. We had total fund balances of $17.8 million, which is improvement from the past.
It's not on the slide. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. I'm really sorry. Total levy for this current academic year?
It's about 5% less.
Of course.
I could get
No,
you that
that's true.
number.
No, I
Sorry.
could do, you're right. I
think
could
it's
figure
like-
that. I could figure it out. It's fine.
I have the
Sorry.
number, I can get it to you. Sorry.
I have a calculator. You're good. Thanks.
We can follow up in an email
Yeah.
to the whole board.
It's fine. And I sprung it on you and I didn't mean to. It was just a curiosity more than anything. So, okay.
No, it's okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
And 5% is what we are able to take without having to.
So 5% or above, you do the public hearing.
Right.
Anything below, you do not have to have a public hearing.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yes.
Funny.
Hey,
Eric,
there's a lot to applaud. It's a very good.
did you do your freedom of information?
Oh, yeah. We
FOIA.
had 2 FOIAs last month and those have been completed.
Thank
you.
you.
Just because it's
Of
on the
course,
agenda.
yes. Okay, now, Dr. Carlson.
Hello.
Thanks, Eric.
So we are presenting tonight on our summative designations that we get from the state annually. Those come out in October. And these are measures that the state uses. They use a number of different things to determine whether a district is considered commendable, exemplary, targeted, whatnot. So it is multiple measures of index. Academic achievement is one of those, student success. It is how we view everything. So we know that a district is more than just one number. We know that a lot of things go into it. With the collaboration of many stakeholders, the state of Illinois determined what they would use in order to put those summative designation numbers out. They are designed to identify schools for supports and improvements when necessary. So this includes all student groups. What's interesting about this is you might have a school district that performs very highly overall, but when you dig a little deeper and disaggregate that data, you see that maybe there's a student group or a specific group of students that are not performing well within that school district. And then the state provides supports for that school district based on that. So this is what we look at. So again, it is more than just one indicator. So your score, or our district score, consider it like 100%, is based of all of these things. So ELA proficiency and math proficiency are each worth 7.5%. EL P2P, that is English learner progress to proficiency. So how quickly are our English learners becoming proficient in the English language? That is worth 5%. Chronic absenteeism, which is a big one, and that is a struggle across the country right now. You hear a lot about attendance. Chronic absenteeism being different than chronic truancy. Chronic absenteeism is any absence, be it excused, unexcused, any absence, the state does not care. Students missing more than 10%, so more than 18 days per school year, are considered chronically absent. So we're really focused in on that a lot. Our climate survey, which is given to students, our 5 essential survey, is worth 5%. And our science assessment, ISA, is worth 5% as well. The 2 big ones on the side, ELA growth and math growth, are both worth 25% each. So really focusing in on growth specifically. We know we're obviously worried about proficiency. We want our students to be proficient. An interesting piece of looking at growth, there are students that are struggling significantly that are not necessarily going to be proficient within a grade level's time, or we have students that are already proficient. We want to make sure that we're focusing on all students. So every student needs to grow, be it our really struggling learners and our students that are proficient and excelling. We want to make sure that all students are growing within that year. So that is really why that largest percentage is in that area. So I'm going to hit the next slide. So the state breaks it down into student demographic groups. So if you have 20 or more students within a student group, that then gives you that demographic group for your building. So each building will have an all-student group. They will also then be broken down based on major racial and ethnic groups. Economically disadvantaged, what are referred to as low-income students, are in that group. Students with disabilities, which includes your IEP students, and your 504 students. Our English learners, which is how the state refers to them in this report, and then our former English learners are those that have been dismissed from services, so they have gotten the scores on access that they needed to, but they are still considered former English learners. We want to make sure that we continue to monitor their progress throughout their schooling, so then they are also considered a student group as well. So these are how we are designated. Exemplary are schools performing in the top 10% of schools statewide, and they have no underperforming student groups. So those are student groups that are buildings that are exemplary. Commendable is a school with no underperforming student groups, but that just don't quite get to that top 10% in the state quite yet, are commendable. Underperforming is a school with 1 or more student groups. performing, this is tricky, at or below the level of the all students groups in the lowest 5%. So they take it's all very, there's a lot of numbers that go into all of your designations, but they take the bottom 5% of schools. So when they rank them all, you have your top 10%, you have your bottom 5%. In that bottom 5%, you have an all students group. So whatever that all students group number is, that becomes the cut score, so to speak.
All students and those bottom 5%, okay.
Yep. And then your lowest performing is a school that is obviously performing in the lowest 5%. Okay, so each of our building principals are gonna come up and they're gonna present you their data, their summative scores, last year, this year, they're gonna talk about their strengths and then areas of growth that we're also working on. So Northeast.
All right, good evening, board. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So as Dr. Carlson said, chronic absenteeism has been on my radar since I became an administrator here, something that we looked at. But we did notice that there was a drop from 29.66 in 2022 to 26.69. So we're starting to see a little bit of a decrease. We're not totally satisfied with that yet. So we have implemented a tardy in attendance campaign just recently, myself and Ms. Franco. So there is some incentives now that we're putting into place. We know that most of the time when it comes to absenteeism, it's the parents that are bringing the kids to school or helping support them in the morning. So we're trying to reach out with some resources, like be more personal with our phone calls. What can we do to help to get you here to school? What's going on? Kind of dig a little deeper to kind of get to know everyone's story. So like I said, we have seen an improvement in that area, but we're not satisfied yet, and we're going to continue to implement those little campaigns that we have. There may or may not be a traveling lion trophy that might be visiting classes. I'm pulling out all my magic tricks, so we'll see what happens.
I can get you more trophies.
I know, I heard,
Yeah, I can see what I could do.
Yes, so, and then you'll see, so our student groups that we outlined are on the left-hand column, our 2022 score, and then our 2023 score. So I am happy with the growth that we have made in our student groups. We've seen an increase in the ELA growth. The REL calculation from 2022 to 2023 was 53.62 to 56. We also saw an increase in math, was kind of like a big jump from 41.92 to 51.04. So, but with all that in mind, we're still, again, we're making some improvements, but we're not, satisfied. We want to keep going. And we're going to work to improve, and how we're going to do this is we really want to improve in the area of proficiency. So, we're during our, BLT meetings and our building-led PD and our teacher individual meetings, we're really focusing on that Eureka pacing, making sure that we're delivering that with integrity, having those data conversations, holding each other accountable, and then with the new CKLA implementation. Again, just having that time for teachers to collaborate and talk and work it through, and hopefully we'll see more of a jump in our proficiency scores next year. Any questions? Thank you.
I know, right? I love it.
Hi, good evening. Haley Vermeer, Principal at Southeast. We were also commendable. And I'm super proud of the work that we're doing. We did have an overall increase of around 2.5 points in our overall score of 63. And if you look at our student groups, you'll see an increase in most student groups. You see a slight decrease with our white students of less than 1 point, but all across the board, we saw increases. So some of those other strengths was an increase in our ELA growth. Our raw calculation last year was 51.60. This year was 59.63. So that was a pretty big jump. We also saw an increase in our climate survey, which went from 85.84 to 98. And that really is just a participation thing of having students participate in the survey. which we've always done, but we didn't always follow up on like the 7 kids that were absent. So we did do that, we tracked them down, and we will track them down again this year to make sure we get those full points. That's an easy one. Chronic absenteeism did also drop just a little bit, so that's moving in the right direction. Same as Carrie, we've focused a lot on attendance as well. And then one of our focus areas, I said last year when I stood up here, an area of growth was with our Hispanic students was a focus area. And when we look at that jump from 48.13 to 58.64, we were super proud to see a 10-point jump with that group of students. Areas of growth is, again, the attendance piece that counts for 20%. Those growth percentages also are huge, and our math growth score was not where it needed to be, and part of that was the pacing, so we're really working on that pacing, like Carrie said as well. And then just the overall implementation still with ELA, and now the second year of Eureka. So we're definitely really proud of the work we're doing, and we thank you for your support. I do feel like the staffing of like an additional reading specialist and a full-time instructional coach has gone a long way for us, and we're seeing these results continually of like small growth in the right direction. So thank you.
What's the CW?
That's children with disabilities. Yeah, so that was a new category to us. Again, it's like that 20, the number of 20. So we do host all the self-contained students. So that was a new number for us this year, that we didn't have that student group last year.
Good evening.
Hello.
With our scores, I looked at it in 2 different ways. So if you look at it from last year, it looks like we had some decreases, which is true. I think last year was just us recovering from COVID, so there's kind of a blip that we did really well last year. If you look at it longitudinally from like 2019 to now, this year is kind of still on track that we're increasing from the 2019 level. So yes, there's a decrease from last year, and we're not happy about that, but longitudinally, if you look at it across several years, it kind of fits in with the trajectory of us kind of increasing some of those scores. So in terms of chronic absenteeism, we did see a drop in that as well from the prior year. So it's still not where we want it to be, but still moving in the right direction. We saw growth percentiles for students with IEPs grew to 57.6 for reading, so we're seeing the growth with that. And more importantly, we're seeing gaps between student groups decreasing. Once again, if you look at it longitudinally from 2019 to today, we're seeing those gaps between groups decrease, which is what we want to see, where there's more equal achievement across the board. So some of the things that we're putting in place, we are looking to continue to improve attendance rates. We have some programs in place for that as well too. We are focusing on the math and ELA implementation, so just really looking at like math lesson planning, ELA unpacking the units and kind of doing some backward design with that to make sure that we're moving forward. And then just with the student groups, just focusing on interventions and putting in place research-based things to help those students that need that extra support moving forward.
So why do you have the NAs here?
So that just means that if we didn't get up to 20, correct me if I'm wrong, if we didn't get 20 in that subgroup, in that student group, then they don't provide the data.
I think that happened last year.
It did for a few of the groups, yes.
Yeah. It's dependent on enrollment in that 3 through 5 grade band. So last year he had up to 20, the students who take the assessment particularly, not the whole building.
Thank you.
Dr. Bennett?
Thank you.
Hello. So we were also commendable at Southwest this year. Some of the strengths that we identified were we received 100% of the proficiency points for both reading and math, and we saw a large point increase in our ELA growth. We've really spent some time this year as we shift into those areas for growth, looking at when we receive our IAR scores from the state, kids get fed into 5 different buckets, from does not meet all the way to exceeds expectations. And we know that from Dr. Carlson's slide earlier, that 50% of the points that you can possibly receive on this report card are dedicated from growth. And so even though we received 100% of the proficiency points, that only makes up 15% of your overall school report card. And so really not being satisfied with that concept, because it doesn't mean that 100% of our kids are proficient, it means that we received 100% of the points. And so what we're really looking to do is to have conversations around how we move kids from the left to the right on that chart. So for example, if a student did not meet or partially met, that we're moving those students to, almost met or met all the way up to exceeded. And so I think when we start to talk about the growth scores and things like that, if we can focus intentionally on moving kids from left to right through those buckets, the growth scores end up taking care of themselves. And so that's some of the stuff that we've started to put in place when we've talked about after-school enrichment groups or intervention groups, is making sure that we're hitting all kids, not just the students who might be below the 10th percentile or below the 25th percentile, but all the way across the board, and starting to be more targeted with those score reports as to what standards students struggled with, particularly as some of my colleagues have mentioned about the pacing and making sure that we're hitting all the necessary standards the kids will be assessed on. And so looking at those things year over year and determining maybe where we as a school struggled with a particular standard, to how to provide some kids some additional opportunities or at-bats for those things. And then the second thing, like everyone else has said, is to improve attendance rates. Our chronic absenteeism rate was 20.5% last year, which means, right, that 1 in 5 kids is missing a day of school every other week. And from historical perspective, I know this is an issue that everybody's dealing with across the state. I think the state average is 24%, but in 2019, our chronic absenteeism rate was 7.5%. And so we wanna get back to those type of numbers. Because we want kids in school, number one, and then when you're talking about your school report card, if 20% is tied to chronic absenteeism, there's a whole lot of points out there that the schools, all the schools can recapture just by getting kids in our building. And I think the Kinvo app that we've been using, those digital attendance report cards, has sparked some conversation about those things. And so when you get that report card, in your phone, that your child has missed X days, or it just leads to some good quality conversations, and I think that's the piece.
As a teacher or a parent?
No, as a parent.
Okay.
As a parent, we got one, and Lauren looks at me, she goes, "What happened?" And I go, "It says 0. She missed no days. It's good."
It's important to look at the fine print.
I was like, she was like, "What's this report?" Nothing. We did good.
That's great.
Good to know though, right?
For sure. And just being intentional with that language about what qualifies as an excused absence versus an unexcused absence, and how they all fall into this bucket of absenteeism, not truancy. And I mean, I get it, I'm a parent of a student who doesn't have the same spring break as us. And so that's a decision I have to make sometimes when spring break time rolls around. But then also maybe I think about that long weekend in May that looks really nice, and maybe we don't take that trip that time, or when we're on the border of something else. I think it's just helpful to be aware. And so that's what we're trying to do, I think, across the district, is have those intentional conversations around that piece. And because I think, selfishly from a report card standpoint, I think we can capture, a pretty easy 10 points by having those conversations.
I had not realized it was that much of a jump. Like 20 to 24, man, that's still a lot. Like, I'm doing in my head, how many days, how many weeks would that have been if my kids were missing that? But from 7% up to 20 to 24%, that's, man,
And I think we're more cautious as individuals
We should
around
be,
sickness,
right?
as
We
we
know
should be,
more,
yes.
right?
Yeah, there's
But
a lot more that, I'm just sending them like, "Yeah, you'll be fine, go to school."
A little bit
But I
less
feel like
of
that
that.
attitude's changed a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And that impacts this, or you get a 5-day where you have to stay home, and that impacts this.
That's true.
So those are things that number has shifted. I think it's gonna stay shifted from.
Yeah.
And also, if you think about it, the way that physicians are treating illness now, in our days, hey, they give us a little pink medicine, give it to them, send them back to school. Today, it's wait 5 days and call us, let us know, and keep them home. So that does contribute.
Any questions?
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
hello.
So, like to start by saying that the great news is that we are commendable this year. Last year, we were targeted, and then this year, we moved back into the commendable range. So big fist pump for that. We're very, very happy and proud of that. And I'm gonna start, that's a collective effort. And I remember, and we'll talk a couple of examples, when we were here last year talking about Central being targeted. The board had asked, what can we do to support you? And the student group was the limited English proficiency group, which caused us to be targeted. And we were asked, what can we do? So we had some conversations about that, and the district and the board has supported some things this year. Last year, and especially this year, that I'll talk about in a little bit, that have really helped. So thank you for that, and thank you for your support. It's been a true collective effort. So if you look at our scores, strengths, every single indicator score increased from 2022 to 2023. So we're very, very proud of that. Thank you, yeah. And again, I told the staff, I said, that's collective. That's the hard work of our staff working together. And they are, they're working very hard, and they're collaborating and planning, and they're doing a great job. So, they're to be commended for that all across the school. There was a significant ELA growth across all student groups, which was impressive. Significant increase in ELA growth indicator score for CMS's Black African American student population. So we're very, very proud of that. And the summative score for our CMS's EL population, our multilingual learners, increased as well, which was obviously a focus of our efforts. Areas of growth, we still have work to do in math. I think that's across the board, but we do have work to do in terms of math proficiency, and we are doing a lot of good work with the Eureka implementation this year and the rigor of Eureka and the planning and collaboration that's going into that. We're hopeful to see some pretty good increases pretty soon, and our teachers are working hard with that, in that area. And like everybody else, continuing to work toward decreasing the chronic absenteeism rate across all student groups. Gotta echo what Scott had said. You're having good conversations. It's funny, they come to you, I've only been absent 3 or 4 days, et cetera. And you can explain, well, if you look at the number of the school year already, they're already at 10-15%. Well, and then the definition, a lot of parents have come to me, excused and unexcused, and you explain it to them, and then they understand that. And then they kind of ask for like some tips and some advice, what can we do? And like I talked to a parent today, and whose child's already at 10, and they had to do it a couple different, well, what can we do? And I said, well, just make sure the child's sick, the child should stay home.
Right.
But make sure a child's sick. I said, one of the things that we know that's happened is sometimes kids will get up and they'll say, I don't feel like going to school, or I'm not sure if I really quite feel good. In the day and age where they have access to Google Classroom and they can just stay on top of things from home, and parents might be a little bit more apt to say, okay, go ahead and stay home, et cetera. And as I told the parents, just make sure your child's really sick, because it's still important, and I said this specifically, it's still important to be in school to learn. Even though you can stay connected with Google Classroom and not fall behind, you still gotta be in school. That's the best way to learn. So having those intentional conversations are definitely important. So even though we are commendable, we still remain under our targeted school improvement plan moving forward. And we still get state funding for that as well. And we do have 3 main priorities going back to last year when we developed a plan, working with our school improvement team and Dr. Carlson leading the way. The first one is provide high quality instruction and differentiation in the general education classrooms for English learners. And the key to this is making sure that everybody is, if everybody is experiencing high quality instruction, everybody's benefiting. And not just trying to segregate it, for lack of a better word, focusing on one group over another. And Dr. Muller and our instructional coaches are dedicating a lot of time during team meetings, reviewing student data, and ensuring that they are providing guidance and coaching to all of our staff regarding components of high-quality Tier 1 instruction with the focus on small group work, student discourse, and student engagement. And that's also being drawn from the learning walks that we've done already this year, and information that we received from the learning walks. So we're focused on that. We're doing a great job with that. And we're continuing to partner with the Illinois Resource Center to look at curriculum and instruction district-wide to support our multilingual learners. So priority 2, revise student schedules for multilingual learners to ensure support can be more adequately provided. A very specific example, when we talk about thank you to the board for your support, is adding on an advanced language multilingual learner program and a teacher dedicated to that. So now our students who qualify every day have a class period dedicated to getting instruction and support by a certified teacher who is phenomenal. Robert Lininger is the ALM teacher. He's done a great job. We poached him from somewhere, right?
He is a steal.
He is, yeah, he is a steal. We poached him from somewhere, because he had a wealth of experience, but not just, he's positive, he's good with kids. You walk into his classroom, there's a lot of engagement going on. So thank you for that, because even though that, you know, we benefited from support that we received last year, you know, with some staffing, I think with programming that we're doing this year, it's gonna be even better and even stronger.
So just to clarify, a student would receive one block of ELA and then also an additional block?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It's offered during the specials time, so when a student qualifies for ALM, it happens during specials, so what they're, you know, they're still taking PE and health, but then they're opting to take this program versus one of the special classes as well. And the kids like it, you know, you think sometimes you get kids who wouldn't like that, they actually do because of the way he's running that class, he's making it very enjoyable for them, and they're learning. EL students have been clustered into grade level classes in order to be provided with more targeted supports in all classroom settings, so we did some scheduling revisions there to make sure that that happened. So, and just improving overall student attendance for our multilingual learners to kind of go along with the chronic absenteeism goal that we have. I actually meet with Robert monthly to kind of review, you know, the student attendance for our students who are ALM and those that we're concerned about. And he's calling them, you know, and that's another great benefit of the Kinvo app. It gives you the data right away. You just plug it in, it pops up. Who's your tier 3, who's your tier 2 students that you're concerned about? And we can go right through that and kind of keep track. He's calling them regularly. He's calling, even when they're absent and they're not even in that tier, he sends there's actually a template in the Kinvo app, hey, we missed you today, hope you're feeling better, can't wait to see you tomorrow. And he's doing stuff like that. So that should be for there as well. And increase school, district and school efforts to communicate to family student attendance rates and provide supports as needed. And Scott kind of mentioned a lot of what we're doing already there. So again, thank you for all your support in helping us this past year.
Great.
Thank you.
Keep your spirit too quick, wait, ahead,
Oh, wait.
one
Joe. Sorry, Joe.
Oh.
One question.
question. You keep calling it, what is it, the Kimbo app?
Kinvo.
Yes.
Kinvo.
Yes.
Okay, so that keeps track of all the absenteeism.
Yeah, it does it in a very organized, easy, user-friendly way. It's connected to Power School. You
Okay.
know, and person behind you could probably talk about it a little bit more expertly than I can. Well, I'll try. So, but it does sync. You know, we had some kinks at the beginning of the year, so it syncs. So even though Power School is still our main tool, where we're marking all of our absences, et cetera, I think it's overnight, every night it connects, and then it syncs. And then what you can do, so I can go and hit grade level 6, and hit the icon and hit the button and hit another button that says tier 3, students who that have been absent X number of days, 20% of the school year. And then it pops up. And who those students are, they're tier 3, number of absences, excused, unexcused, et cetera. And it's very easy it's data that's very easy to pull. And then it's also a mechanism that's very easy to communicate to families as well. Where you can send direct emails, there's templates involved with that as well, so just going specific with attendance, you can do other things. But if you could add, there's actually an email template, it says, hey, we missed you today, you know, hope to see you here tomorrow. You just hit a button, you can do it for any kid, it's really quick, you know, and then you're not trying to look up somebody's contact, cause it's already merged into that app. Is that
Yeah, as a parent, I was like Mike, as a parent, it popped up an email, and we like, what the heck, absentee? He been to school, and then we read it, it was like 0 at the bottom, I was like, oh.
Well, and that's also, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what helps you with the postcards, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The postcards come through the Kimbo app. We really view those postcards as kind of like our tier 1 level of support. They go out to everybody. It's just informational for families, and that is part of what the Kinvo offers us is the ability to send those postcards out monthly. And then when we look at our tier 2 absentees or our tier 3, we're able to increase those levels of support based on what we're pulling from that.
That's excellent.
I do like those cards though, cause I feel like it's a good reminder, just like,
Yes.
you know, regardless of the reason, if you missed this many days, here's like the percentage of the instruction that you missed, and I do think that like as a parent sometimes, like taking that in does like give you that like, okay, like let's try to, you know, like as Scott said, get them to school.
And
You
it
know.
sneaks up on everybody, I mean,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
my own kids, I mean, you think, you know, a day here or a day there,
Mhm.
but 18 days is pretty, I mean, as you can see, it's pretty easy to get to 18 days. You take a vacation, you have a sickness, you have, you know, so it really makes you almost need to be intentional about every day, you know, that you're at school, so.
Before you disappear, I just wanted to thank you and the students at Central. I did attend the Veterans Day concert.
So great.
I had fun. I learned something at the Veterans Day concert. I didn't know what all the folds of the flags were, and I've been to the Navy. And on top of that, I felt very patriotic when I left out.
Yes.
It was a really good concert. I have to give it to those little kids. And I didn't even know my niece was in band. So,
And
Thanks
well,
a
I
lot.
appreciate that, but you know, the real recognition should go to our student leadership committee led by Julie Kelly and Elena Liskey. Our National Junior Honor Society who contributed, our band program under Mr. Dryer, and as well as our choir program.
Mr. Kevin was, he played taps, right?
Yes,
Like,
Mr. Rand,
right?
Kevin played that. And Mrs. Manos Cruz, you know, they work really hard, put a lot of it together. I feel like I'm missing somebody. The breakfast part of it is also, they do a lot of good work with the breakfast, and the veterans come in and they appreciate it. You saw a couple of those veterans really got into it.
Yeah,
They got
yeah,
the-
one guy, I don't know who he was, but he
They were
had the crowd
hilarious.
going.
So,
It was
it's
nice.
truly a
students
community
loved it too.
effort,
It was hilarious.
so thank you for that, and you know, but it was definitely a team effort.
We left out feeling good
Yeah.
early in the morning.
It's the good work of yes, the good work
Thank you
of
for that.
CMS, yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
So I just wanna thank the principals for sharing out tonight. I think that it's important to say we are noticing a lot of growth in a lot of different areas. We obviously still have work to do. But we are asking so much of our principals and of our teachers, and we have had a lot of change in the last couple of years, and they are diving in, and it is hard work every single day because, you know, we are asking them to learn things and to implement things, and then on top of that, teach kids every day while they are trying to get their feet under them for a lot that we're asking. So we just appreciate them so much, so thank you to all of them. And I think we have one more thing under me. Yes, Amanda is gonna come up and share webpage updates. They've been hard at work with this, so thank you.
Hi everyone, this is gonna be super quick, but we all know that communication and transparency is really important. And so everything that's being done with DEI is gonna be posted on our school website. And so if you go to d124.org and click on About, and then click on Departments, you'll see two tabs, DE&I in English, and then I thought it was really important to do a separate tab for DEI Spanish instead of having parents scroll down. I think it was important for it to be a separate webpage. So you go in, you click on whichever, and then you'll see a few things on the web pages, the DE&I and B for belonging, the definitions, the strategic plan goals in relation to DEI. The video that our board president and superintendent were a part of is on there, so you could go ahead and check it out. And then the Spanish one, it's still the same video, it just has Evelyn Lara, our bilingual liaison. She has a little intro at the beginning that she says in Spanish that, she says in Spanish, this video will be in English, but there is Spanish subtitles at the bottom of the video. And then next to all of that is a resources tab, and that's where, we'll fill this up as the year goes on, but for now it has the equity action plan, our DELT members, a glossary that has all the terminology, cultural calendar, the Evergreen Equity newsletter that's updated monthly, and the diverse book list that was in a collaboration with Evergreen Park Public Library. So,
Amazing.
our web pages.
The newsletter's awesome.
Oh,
I know
thanks.
that we've all received November?
November.
Yes, so thank you for that.
December will be coming out.
Remarkable. And we just had our DELT meeting, the end of October, in this very room. That was a great collaborative morning. It was a really good day.
Yeah.
So thank you for all
Did you
that
get your
you're doing.
sticker?
I got my sticker.
I'm wearing the wrong keys. Can you talk about the branding really quick? The sticker
Oh,
branding?
so those decals are at the bottom right there, it's like the little kids. But Dr. Carlson and Dr. Woodland came up with Champion of Equity, which is awesome.
I got my sticker.
And so we made decals and we're giving them out to all the staff just so that they can either put it on, you know, their lanyard or in their classroom, just to have that transparency and show that we're champions of equity. So
People were excited.
they were.
Yeah, Colleen witnessed
They
it.
were excited. Yes, they were. There was a yay. They were a hot commodity.
Yeah. So those will still be passed out. I should have brought, I actually have some I can bring for all of you, and I will. So, yeah.
We've got another meeting next month.
There we go.
So, you
That
know,
too.
we're always here.
Yeah.
Amazing. Great job.
And we intend to put the video in an upcoming newsletter as well, so we can share it with the whole community.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments. Okay, I'm still gonna read my spiel, even though Michael is sick.
I was gonna.
You're keeping me on track? Okay, so the mics,
I
the
was
mic and the
texting.
Michael, they're keeping me on track, but we will. Okay, so public comments, few reminders specifically about the logistics of public comments for every meeting, including this meeting, as is posted on our agenda publicly for every meeting. To respect all of our stakeholders, our commenters, our board, our public, we adhere very closely to the 3-minute limit for comments for everyone. We'll set a timer and expect everyone to respect their 3 minutes. In addition, we do not respond to public comments at board meetings, but we do hear them. And we respect and listen to and take into account all community member concerns. And if there's specific things we can respond to, we will. And at the last meeting, we discussed that we are taking a deep dive in our policies and getting them online. It's very exciting. And so we might be, we won't tweak that part of it, but we can also add reminders of the policy in our different places that we post that kind of information, perhaps even on the green cards themselves, so, okay. Thank you very much. Board report, that would be me. So, most of us, some of us, go to conference in 48 hours. No pressure. Anybody else packed?
You're funny.
It's a nice dream. It's like a noon Thursday thing. I think I have an hour then. So at conference, I will be part of the delegate assembly, which is on Saturday morning at 10:30, where every school board that's present sends a delegate. So we have 850 some boards in our school districts in the state of Illinois, and they will be represented at the delegate assembly. So there were 5 to refresh. There were 5. I probably should have sent this back to you guys again, shouldn't I? Sorry about that. So the 5 things that we'll be voting on at the delegate assembly that we discussed last month. So the first one was industrial construction, and that was the proposal that laws be created to prohibit construction of industrial facilities near schools, citing health and safety and learning outcomes concerns. And also a reminder, so the resolution committee recommends do not adopt, but we will be voting regardless of what the committee recommends. So when I vote, I will be voting for or not for that proposal to create laws. So we don't have to do what the committee says. We as districts are invited to vote our conscience. So the resolution committee recommends do not adopt as they feel the decision should remain under local control and that they could harm some communities that depend on industry. So this is a great example of how a lot of these issues that come up would more strongly impact other districts than they would for ours. We are landlocked evergreen park. I don't think we have to worry about major industry being built near any of our schools. So they recommend do not adopt, like I said, to keep it under local control, but what would you like me to say that day? So, putting y'all on the spot.
Are there any numbers involved? I mean, how far away from the schools, or is there any specifics there?
So, prohibits near schools, it says, that's a really good question. And did I bring that with me? I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Seems like that makes a difference.
And that was another question, was leaving it under local control. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
That's okay, did I need to, like, maybe I did need to.
Local control, you could still say like, we don't want that.
Right, for us.
And then you're just not denying somebody else the opportunity to choose
True.
to say, we want a factory next to the middle school.
It's true.
So run that by me one more time?
I feel like if you say no and leave it under local control, we could still say, no, we don't want that.
Oh, of course.
And all you're doing is taking away the opportunity of some other district who wants factories right next to it.
Right, and so that's what that's the premise that we're working towards is, we can vote for it for us or not, and they, oh, here we go, and they were suggesting keep it under local control. So that was and like I said, we can agree or not agree, so. I do have it right here, yay, okay. Not specifically. Okay, not specifically, sorry. So I'm hearing a local control and a don't know,
I would say local control.
like keeping it under the decisions in the district, okay, so. And that is completely reasonable and I will make a note of that, so I appreciate that. Like I said, we can choose to go with what they recommend, or we can go our own way, but however we choose, you tell me is great. So, okay. The second one was school resource officer funding. Obviously and necessarily, student safety has been a recurring theme in proposals in recent years. The proposal reads, the IASB shall request that the Illinois legislature consider legislation providing educational funding to all school districts to offset this cost of the school resource officer. This is, again, another instance we can afford. We are blessed, our response time, I mean, how close is Central Middle School to the police department, like, right? It really is, you know, we aren't impacted as negatively by this, but I personally would recommend it to adopt. If that's,
Well, that's them providing funding, right?
that's funding,
So I
yes.
mean, even if we can afford it, like, why not have them pay for it?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think it's it should be an obvious support of our school safety, right? Like that's, yeah, so.
And as we have it now, it's protected for the future,
Right.
just in case.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Okay. So yes, thank you. The next is bus driver regulations, which again does not impact us here. And from the proposal, it was returning licensing requirements and driver trainer liability back to pre-February 2023 levels, allowing local training and testing for candidates and increasing reimbursement rate from the state. So I do not know what happened in February of 2023, but apparently if we did bus, we would want to return to before that. And that is a state, you know, since the transportation burden is so vastly different between districts and the requirements for such are mandated by the state of Illinois, transportation costs should also be covered, is what their thought was. And the resolutions committee recommends do adopt. So, I'm really curious how it was before 2023, February 2023.
Never been a fan of lowering mandates that were put in place based off safety of students. It makes no sense. Maybe it'll be a struggle, to get drivers, I understand it, but
It's
if
a
I
big
had to,
struggle.
if I had to measure the struggle with getting a qualified driver to
Yeah.
drive around a bus load full of children,
Certainly,
that's a struggle you're just gonna have to take.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lower a standard and put children in harm's way, potentially in the future.
Well, and so this was part of it, is the training, licensing, all of it's more complicated.
No.
And
Now it is, yeah.
now it's more
Yeah.
complicated, right?
It's an extra hurdle, but some point someone got together and they all voted that we needed the extra hurdle
That's
to
true.
keep kids safe.
That's true. Okay, so, let's see, returning licensing, allow local training and testing and increase reimbursement. So are we okay with, yes, adopting that? Or is that's a concern for safety wise? Okay,
I don't want to go backwards. And remember, there's also the issue with going, the accountability is in there. Having the trainer accountable for.
for every person they've ever,
That they've trained.
so are you pro or are you for that or not?
Again,
Mhm.
so if you think about it, sometimes we remove things to give it gives individuals opportunities to do things that they otherwise would not. Okay? So if you are a trainer and you do know that you're responsible for the trainee,
You're
you are
gonna,
going to train to the highest standard possible
you're
because
also
one
gonna
day.
leave though, is their
Absolutely.
concern. So
Right.
there's a lot of people who are leaving the training.
I understand
Yes,
it,
route.
and that's,
I totally hear
it's
you.
almost in every profession, but again, the end result is we're showing that, little Billy, little Johnny, little Cindy is gonna be safe. Because we as adults made decisions to put standards in place that, yeah, they're hard. And I'm sorry to, that they are hard, but the end result is why they're hard.
Noted. Now I wanna read more. Other input?
I mean, that's when I feel like, it doesn't affect us greatly because we
Right.
don't utilize the buses.
Okay.
I mean, I do know that there's tons of school districts that can't find bus drivers. I mean, as we've said, over the months, that like we're fortunate in that. I mean, yeah, I feel like it would be nice if there was a way to alter, I feel like the law, to make it to where people could train in a reasonable way and hold a high standard, but not fear like the potential of someone who they train having an accident. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like, we're kind of like, we're neutral, it doesn't really affect us.
I'm curious with the change in regulation.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know exactly what that referral
And I
back
don't
to
know.
would be.
It was
But then,
increased
if
training
we
longer.
Okay.
do recall, we came from a bus driver issue problem in Illinois. We had huge problems with that prior to them making
Safety wise or
corrections. Yeah,
numbers
safety-wise.
wise?
We had bus drivers who had DUIs, we had bus drivers who had criminal records, they were just letting anybody drive buses at one point. It was bad,
Okay.
So it's kinda, a basis standards, again, off of law enforcement. If we go out and we unfortunately pull a trigger, they go all the way back to our initial training records, all the way back. And everyone from the beginning of our training up until that point is held accountable for the training if we make a mistake. This is why we receive good training, and this is why you can trust when we come to your house that we're gonna give that training to you.
Got it.
It's just a domino effect.
Okay. Any other?
I'm almost like if it doesn't affect us, why not bother? Why
Okay.
bother?
Okay, all right. So I have a do not adopt. I have a do adopt. I have a do adopt.
Have a do not adopt.
You are a do not adopt?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have two do nots, we have one do. I'm gonna check in with Rachel and, all we needed to do was discuss it, so I'm absolutely gonna ask because obviously this is a hot button and that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
very good thing. And you have changed my mind, so there you go. So, what do you say, Lauren?
I went back and forth, but I don't think that this should go back to the February.
Don't go back to,
I don't
okay.
know how it's phrased, but I
Nope,
think
that's
that
okay. All right,
that the training should be as rigorous as it currently is.
okay,
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
yep, all right, we gotta check in with our other two, cause this is gonna be a close one. And that's okay, that's what it's supposed to be. Thank you. Okay. Employment history review, and maybe this goes back to that, let's not have criminals driving buses,
Yes.
right? So, okay, so the, the IASB shall request the Illinois legislature consider using, this was the Illinois Department of Child and Family Services Child Abuse and Neglect Tracking System as a means to fulfill the employment history review of Faith's Law. The problem with this is they think it's a good idea, but they don't think that's the right tool. So that is, they're suggesting do not adopt, not because it's not a good idea, but they don't think that that's the tool to do it. And I kind of agree with that, so.
I can agree with that as well.
So yes, we need to, Faith's Law requires a district to contact employers listed in the EHR form and conduct a review for sexual misconduct allegations. This is time consuming and financially limiting, that's the premise, like why, but they also don't believe that this is the way, so. Comments?
I don't think just any and everybody should have access to the database. If they could set up something that was proposed, whereas there was a central organization that was responsible for giving that information to you, you know, dispatched to you in some shape, form, or fashion, yes. DCFS, there's some very, very, very sensitive information inside there.
That's true.
That no one should have access to except, in fact, some of the employees should have access to it that work there. But I don't believe, it's too many hands in the pot.
Yep, fair enough.
It just should be some kind of centralized location that could give you that information if you needed to do some kind of check, like law enforcement is today.
But not with
Yeah.
the children,
No.
yeah, I'm not comfortable with that either, so, okay. Thank you. And then, the fifth is alternate safe school funding. So the IASB shall, this is the premise, right? So this is what the proposal says. That the IASB shall advocate for additional funding to be provided for regional alternative safe schools to allow for an elementary approved program, additional funding and approved certification programs for board certified behavioral analysts. Sorry guys, this is long. In school districts and additional flexibility with student discipline to help districts provide the safest learning environment possible. So, all districts are observing an increase in immature and aggressive students and behaviors in students, especially at elementary and middle school levels post-COVID. So the resolution committees suggests do not adopt because they're already doing a lot of these things. And also, they were saying, the resolutions committee said that a better use of their time and efforts would be to possibly review SB 100, which encouraged limiting student suspensions and expulsions, and then COVID happened. Like, just taking it back to having a bigger conversation and not necessarily this conversation. So that's the premise of the proposal. So there's the proposal, and then, like I said, resolutions committee recommends do not adopt because they're doing some of these things already, and they don't know if this is the right action to be taken. So that's the
Are they
idea.
providing funding?
That's what I was gonna say, I was like, didn't it say that they're gonna
So the
provide?
state has already increased funding, awareness, and resources to address EL, but not for these specific characteristics and concerns.
So they've already provided their funding, but this is saying that that funding would have to be used for this one measure.
Additionally.
Whereas of right now, the district has the option for how they choose to use the funding that's been
It
provided.
seems that way. We also asked that the state legislature review SB 100 and make necessary changes.
It's like if
Do you have input too?
This is one I'm pretty passionate about.
Okay, tell me. So it says do not adopt, what would you, this is the discussion, I welcome that.
My perspective is, and I think the board is aware, that we are experiencing a high volume of behaviors.
My language from last month was, we're in this, this is us, so
And
I
do-
wanted to do
I
all
do
of it.
not believe the state is providing sufficient funding for it.
Okay. So it says do not adopt, okay, so your promise would be do adopt this increased funding because it's necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the current
please.
funding now
I would say, yeah, it's based on student allocations, but when we increased our behavior specialist, the board is paying for that allocation.
Mhm.
We increased a district case manager, the board is paying that allocation,
We have grants covering our
a portion of them.
mental health
Mhm.
initiatives and things like that too, but that's true, it's not an increase in funding
No.
specifically.
Okay, yeah.
Some,
Cause that's what I know, like, we're already getting the money, or would this be more money that we get to sort of offset some of those costs that we're already putting out there?
That should offset some of those costs.
it's kind of like playing catch up. If we
I mean,
already
I feel
have
like,
a
we're, I mean, we're
problem,
providing,
and we need
Right.
now we have to get the funding for the problem that we already have.
Yes.
then
well,
that
that's my
makes
thing,
no
is I feel
sense.
like we've already
Yeah.
put the solution to, like, try to fix the problem in place. You know, so if
This
this
would be
would be one where
supports.
now we're just asking for the reimbursement of the money that we spent, then yes, I'm all for that.
Okay, so
Um,
this would be this would be a do adopt for increased supports, is that
Because
what
we're
I'm
already
hearing?
doing the service that's suggesting.
I'm, as you're reading, in my,
Okay.
in my mind, I'm saying yes or no.
Okay,
And so
okay,
as
just
you
making
read it,
sure.
I said yes, adopt.
Well, the good news is there's only 5 of these tonight, guys, so, okay, thank you. And like I said, on the split right down the middle, and I will check in with our other 2 folks that are not here. And again, that doesn't have to necessarily be a board, like we aren't deciding on that. I don't think so that that's a board action. But I will take that into consideration and I will vote as directed, so thank you very much for that. I'll start the group text on Thursday morning for people attending. I already asked Dr. Carlson to collaborate and yeah, it's fun. Okay, very good. Any other questions about conference for those attending? All right, cool. Okay, so thank you.
I am noticing that there is not a finance committee update on the agenda,
Oh,
and so Michael Thomas gets a break and we get to do that in December.
you get a bye.
I'm gonna crush
He's
it though.
so disappointed.
had
Now you have a month to
I
prepare.
had like the best 3 sentences already.
Look at that.
Wow, oh, okay.
It's ready.
I'm sure you were, absolutely.
He was.
Yeah, next time we'll have dirt, we'll have We'll have a lot of things, so, okay. And maybe you can tag your other Michael in on that one by the
It's
time.
gonna be a co-presentation
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Every other word.
Oh my gosh, one sentence, one sentence, one sentence, I think that's it. Okay, then we will move on to our action items and our consent agenda. Consent agenda item A includes approve monthly transaction reports for October of 2023. Number 2 is to approve fund balance reports for October of 2023. 3 is to approve expenditure report and projected payroll report for November of 2023. Number 4 is to approve board minutes from the regular meeting of October 18th, 2023. Number 5 is to approve the closed session minutes from the regular meeting of October 18th, 2023. Number 6 is to approve destruction of closed session tapes from July of 2019. Number 7 is to approve the personnel recommendations listed below, 2 FMLAs and 3 resignations. If I could have someone to please make the first motion to approve consent agenda item number A.
Motion to approve consent agenda item A.
Great. And a second, please.
I will second that motion.
Thank you, David. And a roll call, please.
Yes, Michael Thomas,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Laura Dowden,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes, Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
motion passed.
Excellent. And then our next, I know this is listed somewhere, isn't it? Our next meeting.
Is there 19?
Okay.
19?
Okay, that's the, yes, thank you, all right. So, number B is to establish the tax levy hearing date and time, and that will be Tuesday, December 19th. Same time, same place, same channel, okay? So if I could have a first motion to approve or establish the tax levy hearing date and time?
Motion to approve, tax levy hearing date and time.
Excellent. And a second, please?
I will second that motion.
Thank you. We are hearing a lot from the fellas this evening. Very good. And a roll call, please.
Michael Thomas.
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion has been passed.
Great. And then item C is to approve our tentative tax levy as presented by Eric. Thank you. If I could have a first motion, please.
Motion to approve the tentative tax levy.
Thank you. And a second, please.
Want to second it? Keep it
All
going.
right, now we're on a roll. And a roll call, please.
Michael Thomas.
Yes.
Lauren, David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent. All right. We will recess, oh, the color changed, okay. Recess to close session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, and student disciplinary cases. We will not be taking any action after we return to open session. I always forget. Do you need a roll call? Motion to move, okay, thank you. Motion, second?
Second.
Excellent. Roll call?
Closed session. Michael Thomas.
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Colleen Clemzak.
Yes, ma'am.
Recess to closed session
Right.
at 07:31.
31, okay. Okay,